Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia, and here on my channel, we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self love and healing. I sometimes use hot topics and TV shows as my medium, and today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 4. I, I usually do just like my quick thoughts, offer a different perspective, offer some insight, some food for thought, some takeaways or lessons that we can learn and apply to our lives. So, we're going to talk about it. I'm going couple by couple. But first, I want to say if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for supporting me. Our first couple I want to start with is Kirsten and Shaq. So, last week I talked a lot about Kirsten. This week I'm going to talk about Shaq. Shaq asked Kirsten for a kiss. And I want to start with her friends. So we found out on the after party that her friends told Shaq that she wanted to be asked for a kiss. One thing I'm going to say is that as friends and family, it's better if you allow the person to communicate. They have to develop communication skills and problem solving skills within their relationship. And getting to know your partner takes you having certain discussions and just, learning each other in that learning process. When you intervene, you're not really being beneficial a lot of times. And so Shaq got shot down again. Because like I stated, my issue with how Kirsten is handling things isn't that she doesn't want to kiss him. She has that right. Whether they're married or not, they're still strangers. She has that right. Where the concern comes in is that I feel like it's a game to her and she's kind of playing. And if you are like, I'm ready to get married and I'm serious about this, then it seems a little immature to me that this will be the way to do it, where she can have this conversation with him as to why she wants to wait for a kiss, or just set a boundary. Just say, you know what? I just want to get to know you more before we kiss. Not everyone is okay with sharing lips and saliva with people. So I get it. Where Shaq could have benefited from, or what may have get I think for Shaq, my suggestion would have been for him to just talk to her. So as they were sitting there, she was sitting on his lap. It was a comfortable. She seemed comfortable. She seemed relaxed. I think for him, it would have been better for him to say, I want to talk to you about your boundaries around intimacy, about your boundaries around kissing, and share, like, your friends told me that, I should ask you, but, I'm really trying to get to know you from you. I want to understand you from you. And, if you didn't want to do it earlier, we can wait. I'm going to be patient if that's his truth. But just have a conversation with her about the whole intimacy issue, about kissing, about touch. I think it would be better for them to kind of like set a goal, and start working on their mission of the relationship. But in his efforts to get to know her, that's a way for him to get to know her, is to inquire about her thoughts, her feelings, her views, her place of comfort when it comes to physical touch and intimacy. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity for him by going that route. And again, on his end, it was a little immature. I'm going to be honest. I find that there needs to be a lot of maturing happening on the show. My other concern with Shaq is with the whole Jacksonville trip. So they're not going to Jamaica. Instead, they're going to Jacksonville because of school. Now, here are my concerns. Number one, you didn't ask her permission. You didn't have a conversation. This is your partner. And so what I'm starting to get from Shaq is that, similar to what I said, they're the same way as far as both of them, him and Kirsten, both want like this image and they have this checklist and they just want to meet the needs of the checklist. But you are about to be in a relationship with a person. And so for me, it's like, let's stop treating this person as though they are an accessory and recognize that they are a human being and try to get to know her. And, him not asking her about whether or not she wanted to go was problematic to me. I felt like they should have been able to have a discussion and came up with a decision together, so you can lay that foundation of having conversations, of making decisions, of respecting one another as individuals and respecting your relationship. And I don't feel like he did that. He just told her, like, you're coming with me to Jacksonville. And, they're filming the show. So she can't be seen with him. He can't say that that's his wife. So she's just going to be there in the room. So I feel like he should have allowed her to make a choice, or them come up with a decision together versus making a decision for them. And I feel like some of this is coming from a place of fear of rejection. Rejection is normal. Not everyone, you're not going to always get a yes, but it's okay to try to build a relationship, a rapport with a person, so you can have more understanding. And that that no may turn into a yes, but it's really off-putting for someone to just be persistent or just try to like boss you around. Sometimes we get told that that's what masculinity is. Masculinity isn't you just bossing around. Like, that's not the leadership conversation, because I know somebody gonna say, well, he's leading, but that's not leading. Leadership, when you lead, you meet with the people that you meet with your partners, you meet with your team, you guys have a mission, and you come up with the goals and strategies and things like that. There's a conversation to be had there, especially when you're just meeting a person. So I would like to see Shaq be more of a gentleman in that way, and view his wife as a person, and start initiating these conversations with her to really get to know her, and it not be so much about, you're going to do as I say, or, I just want you to do what I want. This can't be selfish. Relationships require some compromise. So I would like to see them talk more. That's it on those two. Next, I have Clint and Gina. Okay, so we already can kind of see what's going to happen. This is where things are about to go wrong. So it seems like they get along and they're both attracted to one another and they have a lot in common. If I can be honest, I think Clint is somebody who may be considered a little socially awkward. And because of that, he has a little insecurity, but he's able to kind of cover it up with his things and his life and his success, right? We see that a lot. I kept saying, I feel like there's something that he's hiding. I'm waiting to learn a little more about Clint. But when Gina went to the family and mentioned about his looks and her not normally being attracted to a gingerhead guy, like, okay, so I know that her intention was to say, I'm not attracted, but attraction isn't everything. But it didn't come out that way. You have to be really mindful about what you say and who you say it to. This is his family. These are people who love him. And from the fitting, you can tell that they kind of want him to settle down and be happy and find someone that wants him for him. Because I have a feeling that Clint kind of leads with things versus Clint leading with his personality. Anyway, I have a feeling that that's going to be a blow to Clint, because the family is going to come back and tell him what Gina said. And then his ego may be a little hurt. And so he may respond. And that's where we're going to get the conversation about him normally dating athletic women. Unfortunately, everyone else may not have that backstory. So now Clint is going to be the villain because he's responding. He can handle that differently, though. That is a conversation definitely that they can have. But because we haven't seen it play out, I don't want to speak to it too much. But I have a feeling they're just going to start throwing daggers at one another, because Clint is going to get word that she really isn't attracted to him, which is unfortunate, because she's been saying like she finds him attractive and they're having a good time. But this is what you say to the family. So when you're meeting a family, when you're meeting loved ones, there are certain conversations you just shouldn't have. Some conversations are for your friends and family only, or just kind of food for thought for you until you process it more. So I know she may have been nervous or something like that, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend making that kind of statement with the family. You don't know them. You don't know how they're going to interpret it, and you're getting to know your husband. So that's my thought on those two. I'm looking forward to next week to see what they say. Next up, I want to say Jasmine and Aries. So I had hope for Mr. Aries, but my hope is gone. My hope is gone for this particular journey. Like I said, relationships are great, loves are great lessons. I hope that he can look back and learn from this experience. In theory, I feel like him and Jasmine would have made a good couple because he would get a little more. I feel like he would be more supported by her family. Her family seems so supportive. And I think they would support and nurture their relationship versus always saying something negative. And I know the thought is the cousin who doesn't like anything, doesn't see it for this situation at all. I know the thought is, she knows him better than everyone, which is true. This is what I'll say. If Jasmine was to come to me and tell me that she was dating this person, how we would pick this apart is I would say, you see where he is right now. First, Jasmine, what do you want? What is important to you in a partner? Like, we need to know and understand those things. Secondly, but should be first, is Jasmine really needs a strong sense of self and self-love and confidence, right? And knows that she should have what it is that we deserve. So that would be where we would start. Then once we understand who she is and she knows what she's looking for in a partner, I would suggest to just do an assessment of him. And does he have what you will want in a partner today? Can you meet him where he is right now? Because he needs a lot of growth. He needs a lot of growth and a lot of mentorship. I see Aries, and I'm not being disrespectful, but I see him as a teenager. I see him as his behavior is he just reminds me of a teenager. And I really don't mean that in a disrespectful way. A lot of times when we experience trauma, people will emotionally and mentally at times stay in that place, especially with certain relationships if it evolves around relationships. So I see him as a kid, and I see that no one has required him to grow up or seek help. So he doesn't have the resources. I don't want to say anybody required him to get resources, but I don't see that he's been offered resources that he's taken advantage of to kind of heal in those areas. So I really feel like the loss of his father is very present. And then whatever else is going on. So getting back to the father and Jasmine, as I stated before, I felt like the father would be a good mentor for him, a male mentor who can really help usher him into manhood. Now, is that where he should be? No, but that's where he is. So my question to Jasmine would be, are you willing to deal with him as he is forever? And that is a question I always tell people when you're dating and you have some concerns, or if you're in a relationship and you have concerns about your partner's behavior, the question I ask you to ask yourself is, if this never changes, will you be okay with it? Could you live with it? Right? Because it may or may not. People can change. I always say that, but some people won't. And some people just aren't willing to. And you have to decide if this is a chance you're willing to take. So when Aries met with Jasmine's father, I was hoping that there would be an exchange where we had like a little more protective side of his dad, where his dad will be more on that this is my daughter. I'm trusting my daughter with you. Please take care of her and her heart. But the father was like, come on in, fix a plate. It's all good. We're fine. Welcome to the family. And I'm like, oh. So I don't have a lot of hope for that situation. And then with the cousin, you can tell that there's a lack of boundaries. So that will be another issue for them in their relationship. The cousin is allowed to say whatever, and Aries doesn't know how to protect Jasmine. Because when Jasmine came back with the conversation that she had with the cousin, that she was trying to be nice and stating, yeah, your cousin loves you, which it really should have been more of a conversation about how are we going to put barriers around this relationship. Aries was pretty much like, well, that's my cousin. It was kind of just, he didn't know his role as a husband and a protector in that moment. Protection isn't always about physical protection. It's about the boundaries of the relationships that you have with other people and them requiring that they treat your wife or your partner with respect. And I don't see Aries requiring that the cousin or anyone else treats her with the respect that she deserves. So I'm going to go ahead and let that go. Plus, I did watch the after party, and when he said Laura London was his celebrity crush, and Dom kind of like shifted in her chair, like, yes. I was like, are y'all dating? Because they were like reaching out to each other, and there was this energy. I haven't watched anyone's reviews yet because I want to give my own thoughts before I get to it, and it's been a crazy week. But I saw something between the two of them. I was like, oh, there's an interest there between them. I really just want Jasmine to find herself so she can get the love she deserves. She seems like a very sweet, kind lady. She seems like she will really be a great partner, but I don't think she has it in her to put the requirements on Aries that he needs. Aries needs someone who stands firm in their requirements and their standards for a partner. Like you need to have him rise to the occasion. And I don't think Jasmine has that, because the whole grape situation, not that I have a problem with it. Like, if that's what y'all do, that's what y'all do. But I don't know that he will pour into her as she pours into him. And it needs to be mutual. So I don't know. And plus, I think he likes Dom because, baby, that energy and body language. And when she shifted herself in that chair, I was like, oh, she was like, that's what I thought. I was like, oh my goodness. So I don't know. But, I stand on what I said before. Relationships are great. Loves are great lessons. These two may or may not make it. But I don't have a lot of hope because, both of them have a ways to go, but I don't think Aries is at the place where he has the tools or is willing to gain the tools to be a husband that provides and protects for his partner. So that's it on those two. Next up, we have Nicole and Chris. I really like Nicole and Chris. They have a conversation around the problems that they've had in the past as far as being mistreated in their relationships. Let me say this. I'm not a fan of having those kind of conversations too early on. I feel like you need to trust your partner, but I understand that this is a speedy process. And, for me, I just want to know, was Chris seeking comfort when he told his story and asked Nicole about her story about, having partners mistreat them? Like, was this a time where he was seeking comfort and understanding, or what was the intention behind asking that question? Typically, I say don't talk about your trauma early on because you don't know the intentions of the person. And sometimes they're trying to understand what you have allowed before so that they can do it to you. But I don't feel like you should be paranoid. You just have to be really self-aware and self-confident, and not share anything that could cause you any pain or hurt. And sometimes people are just trying to see. Sometimes people are just trying to get a understanding of what makes you feel loved and what makes you feel seen and what have you been through. And sometimes they're just trying to bond, because if I'm vulnerable, then you can be vulnerable, right? But that can be used for good or bad. So I typically say, like, slow down on that. We're going to see what happens. The way he responded, though, Chris seemed very compassionate. He seems to really really feel for her. Like, he had empathy in that moment. So we'll see. Nicole is still saying things like, I never had anyone to treat me this way. Nicole said that she was working on herself and regaining her confidence. I hope she continues that work and be accepting of someone loving and caring for her, because it's something you deserve with a partner, something you want. And I said in my last video, sometimes we're not prepared for what we're asking for, and then we sabotage it. So I hope that's not the case. But I do like them too, and I'm wishing them the best of luck. Last but definitely not least, we have Dom and Mac. And I missed them last week. I don't know how I missed them. Okay, first I want to talk about a little bit about last week with the family dynamic. I I know there's conversation about whether or not this is a race issue. It may or may not be. I have the feeling that the mom kind of runs the house with the iron fist, and like there's a control factor there that she has to be in control. Oh, and maybe that's why Mac is rebelling the way that he is. Maybe he doesn't want to be the one that's constantly told what to do and how to do it. When you watch the body language of the sister, like the sister drops her head a lot. She gets kind of like nervous, and you see her like touch her mom's shoulder. Like there's these signs there that I'm worried about what mom may say, and I don't want to disappoint. This is what I'm thinking. Um, so maybe Mac has just been kind of like running away and rebelling and doing his own thing because his mom may have like a tight leash on, or maybe mom's reins are a little tight and he's trying not to be controlled anymore. And that's where we're getting all of this behavior from. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I honestly think that that would be the mom in general. I think in general, she would just shut anyone down, kind of like no one's good enough for my son, or I have to pick them for you, or you don't need anyone because I'm your mother and I'll take care of you. Those are the kind of vibes that I get. And I feel like it could be some of those things more so than race, but not to say that that's not a factor, you know. And then Dom's mom is really, really vested. And eventually, what could happen is that Dom becomes resentful because she can't live her own life, right? It becomes a prison when you live for other people. And you betray yourself when your whole goal in life is to please others and you don't get to live your life. I think her and Mac are going to have fun partying and drinking together because I think Mac is more of a party guy than what he gives on. I think they both live a different life than what their parents think they live. Mac may be a little more just because his things have been kind of a little more extreme. But I have a feeling that Dom's mom doesn't really understand who her daughter is. It's kind of just like, I just want you to be who and what I want you to be. And she's not allowing Dom to flourish into herself as a person and as a woman. I think she would benefit from giving room to that, like allowing her to be herself. So we're going to see what happens between the two of them. I don't think really anything else happened that I wanted to speak to, but I did want to address the family dynamic and just the family and friends dynamic, period. One thing about me that I find to be very important is that people in my life understand that if I have people in my life, they are important to me. And so how you treat them is important. And in order to protect me, you don't need to mistreat them. Right. And so that's what we see. Like Shaq was hemmed up by the friends. That isn't doing anything. I know sometimes we as ladies feel like if we let him know that we are about our business, we gonna take care of our friend. You have to understand that she has a support system that will stop them. And it isn't. All that is going to do, if his intentions aren't good, is he's going to work on putting a wedge between that relationship. Right. And because a lot of women want to be married, they will go ahead and allow that wedge to happen. So you don't really do your partners, your friends, your girlfriends, or your family any good. Just showing them support and keeping that relationship with them so you can have the lines of communication open when you do need to help them is better than trying to evoke fear in a person, thinking that that's going to stop them. It isn't. It isn't. A person can recognize when there's a strong structure that is unbreakable versus when there's just a lot of noise. Then they just say, okay, now I know I have to break this up because that person's gonna come my way, right? You're telling them like she makes bad decisions, so we have to defend her. You're telling on your friend, you're not really helping. So I didn't like that for Shaq. And how her friends were talking to him, and even the dad, the Nicole's dad, Chris handled it well. And I get it. Like as a father, yes, I want to let you know that I'm here and I'm going to protect my daughter, and I need to make sure that you are worthy of her love and her heart. I get it. But there's just a way to do it. I guess that's what I'm saying, because I wish that Jasmine's father had been that way towards Aries just a little bit, like really let him know that I'm trusting you with my daughter and you need to step up to the plate. But you don't have to be nasty or belligerent about it. Just let him know this is my daughter and I love her. And I need you to step up to the plate. So I don't know, you guys. We're going to see. Let me know your thoughts. Please leave a comment below. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys here next week. My schedule this upcoming week is crazy, so I don't know when I'll have Mafs up. I may have it up on Sunday again. I'm trying to make Saturdays my day, Fridays or Saturdays, but I don't know. So we'll see. Just turn on your notification bells. Listen, I'm not getting my notifications for channels that I follow, and I don't think my notifications are going out, but that's usual because I took kind of a hiatus. So please turn on your notification bell. And I'll see you guys here next week. Also, I did a safety video with Officer Lorenzo. Please check that out. Please take care of yourself. And don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Mwah. Hugs and kisses. Take care. Bye.